Picture this. A young boxer they call Dangerous Tony Danza is throwing punches in a Brooklyn gym, sweat on his face, fire in his eyes. And across the room, a TV producer is watching every single move. That moment launched one of the most beloved TV dads in American history. But that is not even close to the most unbelievable thing to happen to this cast. Before we count down, tell me honestly, who did you sit next to on the couch when that unforgettable Who's the Boss theme song played? Drop a quick comment below. I absolutely love reading your memories. Now, let us start with someone who stole America's heart before she could even drive a car. At number 7, Alyssa Milano. She was 11 years old when she became Samantha Micelli, the tomboy with the big heart and the even bigger smile. But here is the wild part. She almost never made it to that audition. When Alyssa was just 7 years old, something unexpected happened. Her babysitter was an aspiring actress, and one afternoon, without telling mum or dad, that babysitter took little Alyssa to an open call for the musical Annie. No permission, no headshot, just a little girl from Brooklyn and a dream that was not even hers yet. Out of more than 1,500 girls, Alyssa was one of only 4 chosen. The babysitter was not. That audition changed everything. Within a few years, she was standing next to Arnold Schwarzenegger in the action film Commando. She played his daughter. She was 12 years old. Then came Who's the Boss in 1984, and for the next 8 years, she grew up right in front of us. Season after season, we watched Samantha Micelli go from a little girl to a young woman. Alyssa won multiple Young Artist Awards. She won Favorite TV Actress at the Kids' Choice Awards 3 times. After the show ended, Alyssa kept climbing. She joined Melrose Place. Then she took on the role of Phoebe Halliwell on Charmed. 178 episodes. She became a producer on that show by season 5. And in 2024, she stepped onto the Broadway stage as Roxy Hart in Chicago. Her TV dad, Tony Danza, went to see her perform. He posted on Instagram and called her my forever TV daughter. The kind of love that does not fade after the cameras stop rolling. Now here is a trivia bomb for you. Remember Star-Lord's spaceship in Guardians of the Galaxy? That orange and blue ship called the Milano? Director James Gunn named that ship after Alyssa Milano. In the movie, Peter Quill was taken from Earth in 1988, and in 1988, Who's the Boss was one of the hottest shows on television. Alyssa Milano was the crush of every kid in America. So Peter Quill did what any kid in the 80s would do. He named his most prized possession after her. And the best part, Alyssa had absolutely no idea. For almost 8 years, a spaceship in the Marvel Universe was flying through the galaxy with her name on it, and nobody told her. When she finally found out in 2022, all she said was, "I had no idea. It is pretty cool." Today, Alyssa Milano is 53 years old. She has been married to talent agent David Bugliari since 2009. They share 2 children together. She is a UNICEF ambassador. She runs a popular newsletter on Substack and a podcast called Sorry Not Sorry. From a 7-year-old sneaking into an audition to a woman with a spaceship in the Marvel Universe. Not bad for a kid from Brooklyn. But coming up next, a 5-year-old walked on to the Who's the Boss set in season 7. What happened to him after the show ended is a story nobody expected. Stay right here. At number 6, Jonathan Halyalkar. By 1990, the kids on Who's the Boss were not kids anymore. Samantha was heading to college, Jonathan was in high school. The producers needed fresh energy, so they brought in a 5-year-old boy named Billy Napoli, an orphan from Tony's old neighborhood in Brooklyn. His grandmother could no longer take care of him, so Tony stepped up. Jonathan Halyalkar was just 5 when he walked onto that set. He appeared in 21 episodes during season 7. Katherine Helmond later said he was a gifted young performer, but she also admitted the truth. He was a little kid trying to match the rhythm of a cast that had been working together for 6 years. That is a tall order for anyone, let alone a 5-year-old. After one season, Billy was written off the show. The story said his grandmother recovered and he moved back home. So what happened next? He popped up in a few guest spots. Veronica Mars, American Bully. Then he moved behind the camera to produce a sci-fi series called The Well. And then he showed up at a completely different kind of table, a poker table. Jonathan Halyalkar competed as a professional poker player. He placed 22nd at the World Series of Poker in 2012. From a TV set at 5 to a poker tournament at 27. No sitcom writer could have dreamed that one up. Today he is 41 years old. He lives a very private life, and honestly, good for him. Now, coming up next is a face every Who's the Boss fan will recognize instantly. The nosy neighbor who always let herself in without knocking. But the real story behind how she got that role, that is a family secret you never knew. At number 5, Rhoda Gemignani. Every great sitcom needs that one neighbor, the one who walks in without knocking, the one who always has an opinion, the one who drives everyone crazy, but somehow makes everything better. On Who's the Boss, that was Mrs. Carmela Rossini. Rhoda Gemignani played her across all 8 seasons, over 20 episodes of pure comic gold. Now something almost nobody knows. Rhoda Gemignani's real name is Rhoda Barbara Cohen, and her older brother, Martin Cohen. Martin Cohen co-created Who's the Boss. The nosy neighbor on your favorite sitcom was the creator's little sister. Makes you wonder how many other secrets were hiding in plain sight on your favorite shows. Now, before you think this was just a family favor, think again. Rhoda had been working steadily in Hollywood since the early 1970s. She appeared on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Bob Newhart Show, The Jeffersons. She showed up on Different Strokes, Full House, Seinfeld, and Friends. She even appeared in the original Ghostbusters in 1984. This woman earned every single role she ever played. And one more surprising detail. Her former husband, Paul Gemignani, was a legendary Broadway musical conductor. He worked alongside Stephen Sondheim for decades. Today, Rhoda Gemignani is 86 years old. She has quietly stepped back from the spotlight. But every time you rewatch Who's the Boss and hear that doorbell ring, you know exactly who is about to walk in. And you would not have it any other way. Up next, the little boy who played Angela's son. He starred in one of the scariest Stephen King movies ever made before he turned 8. And what he said on national television in 2026 stopped everyone in their tracks. At number 4, Danny Pintauro. If Samantha Micelli was the big sister you wished you had, then Jonathan Bauer was the little brother who made you laugh every single week. Danny Pintauro was 8 years old when he joined Who's the Boss in 1984. For the next 8 years, we watched him grow from a wide-eyed little kid into a teenager, right there in the Bauer living room, right alongside us. But Danny was no newcomer when he got that role. His very first television appearance. He was 2 years old, a toddler on the soap opera As the World Turns, playing the original Paul Ryan. 2 years old. Then at 7, he starred in one of the most terrifying Stephen King adaptations ever put on film, Cujo. He played Tad Trenton, a little boy trapped in a car with his mother while a rabid dog attacked from outside. From a horror movie at 7 to a sitcom at 8, that is range. After Who's the Boss ended, Danny stepped away from Hollywood. He enrolled at Stanford University and earned a degree in English and theater. He later returned to the stage with a one-man show in New York City. In 2022, he came back to our screens in a country Christmas harmony on Lifetime. Over the years, Danny showed a different kind of courage. He became one of the first young celebrities to openly share his truth with the world. He spoke with Oprah Winfrey about his personal journey in 2015, and he used that moment to become an advocate for the communities closest to his heart. He has been married to Will Tabarez since 2014. They support each other through everything. And then came 2026. Danny Pintauro made headlines around the world, not for a new role, not for a red carpet appearance. He posted a selfie on Instagram. He was delivering packages for Amazon Flex. At 50 years old, one of the most recognizable child stars of the 1980s was loading boxes into his car and dropping them on doorsteps. And he was not hiding from it. He went on the Today Show and said something that hit everyone square in the chest. Honest work is not embarrassing. He explained that the entertainment industry has changed. Fewer shows are being made, fewer pilots are being ordered, and the delivery job gives him flexibility to keep auditioning. Then something beautiful happened. During a separate interview with Entertainment Tonight, his former TV mom Judith Light popped up on a surprise video call. She looked at Danny and called him, "My boy." Danny later posted about that moment. He wrote, "I cannot tell you how much that meant to me. Seeing her hearing 'my boy' and feeling that kind of love come through the screen just hit me right in the heart." When he is not delivering packages or auditioning, Danny creates beautiful handmade book nooks, miniature works of art made from books. He has sold more than 165 of them since November 2024. Today, Danny Pintauro is 50 years old. He lives in California with his husband, Will. He is still creating, still showing up, still standing tall. You know, watching Danny and Alyssa grow up on that show, it felt like they were part of our own family. We saw their first days of school, their first heartbreaks, their first steps into the real world. Tell me something in the comments. Did you feel the same way? Did watching those kids on Who's the Boss feel like watching your own children or your own siblings grow up? And be honest, how many of you just realized you are now older than Tony and Angela were when the show started? Drop that confession in the comments. I know I am not the only one. We have talked about the kids, we have talked about the neighbors, but there is one member of this family we have not mentioned yet. The woman who many fans believe was the real boss of that household. At number 3, Katherine Helmond. Let us be honest, Mona Robinson was the real boss. Everyone knew it. Angela knew it. Tony knew it. And deep down, so did we. She had the sharpest wit on television. She could deliver a one-liner that left the entire studio audience gasping for air. And she did it with a wink and a smile that said, "I know exactly what I am doing." Katherine Helmond was born in Galveston, Texas in 1929. She grew up with very little. She was raised by her mother and grandmother. She started working young to help support the family. But she had a gift, and she was not going to let it go to waste. She earned a Tony nomination on Broadway for The Great God Brown in 1973. Then came Soap in 1977. She played the unforgettable Jessica Tate. She was the only actor to appear in all 88 episodes. That role earned her a Golden Globe Award. And then came Mona. Katherine Helmond appeared in all 196 episodes of Who's the Boss. She was one of only 3 cast members to do that. She won another Golden Globe. She collected 7 Emmy nominations across her career. And at around 60 years old, she wore a red bikini on the show. Can we just take a second to appreciate that? 60 years old, red bikini, national television. Mona would be proud. After Who's the Boss, she kept going. She joined the cast of Coach. Then she played Lois Whelan on Everybody Loves Raymond. She appeared in Terry Gilliam's Brazil, and even in an Alfred Hitchcock film. And a whole new generation fell in love with her voice. She played Lizzie in all 3 Pixar Cars films, from 2006 all the way to 2017. Now, her final chapter. Katherine Helmond met sculptor David Christian in 1962. He was 19, she was 33, 14 years between them, and it never mattered. They were together 7 years before they married in 1969. They stayed together for 57 years. In February of 2019, Katherine Helmond left us. she was 89 years old. She had no children. She practiced Zen Buddhism with David. She requested no funeral. She was cremated. But she left behind 6 decades of laughter. 6 decades of brilliant performances. And one of the greatest TV characters ever created. We will honor her properly in just a moment. But first, the woman who stood right beside her on set for 8 years, a woman who almost gave up on acting entirely. What she has built since then will leave you speechless. At number 2, Judith Light. Angela Bauer was the modern woman before television knew what a modern woman looked like. A single mother, a powerful advertising executive, running her household on her own terms, and Judith Light made every second of it believable. What comes next might surprise you. Judith Light almost walked away from acting forever. After her Broadway debut in 1975, the roles stopped coming. For years, nothing. She was running out of money. She was running out of hope. She was seriously thinking about quitting. Then, in 1977, a phone call came. It was for a soap opera, One Life to Live, on ABC. Judith had always told herself she would never do a soap opera, but she needed the work, so she said yes. That one phone call changed everything. She played Karen Volek. She won 2 Daytime Emmy Awards back-to-back, 1980 and 1981. And suddenly, the whole industry knew her name. From there, she landed Angela Bauer on Who's the Boss in 1984. For 8 seasons, she and Tony Danza created one of the most beloved duos in sitcom history. And then she went even further. Judith Light won 2 consecutive Tony Awards on Broadway, Best Featured Actress in a Play for Other Desert Cities in 2012, and again for The Assembled Parties in 2013. She was the first actress to win back-to-back Tonys in nearly 2 decades. In 2019, she received the Isabel Stevenson Tony Award. It honored her decades of fighting for LGBTQ rights and HIV and AIDS awareness. That same year, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 2023, she won a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series. The show was Poker Face. And in 2026, Judith Light is still not slowing down. She is in Season 2 of Presumed Innocent on Apple TV+. She joined a new comedy film alongside Cameron Diaz, and she stars in The Terror, The Devil in Silver on AMC+. That premiered in May 2026. She has been married to actor Robert Desiderio since 1985. They met on the set of One Life to Live. She once said something about Tony Danza that tells you everything about their bond. She said, "Tony Danza taught me more about comedy than any school and any repertory theater I had been in." Today, Judith Light is 77 years old. 2 Daytime Emmys, 2 Tonys, 1 Primetime Emmy, a star on the Walk of Fame, and she is still showing up every single day. The woman who almost quit became unstoppable. And now, the moment you have been waiting for. Number 1. Remember that young boxer from the very beginning of our story? The one throwing punches in a Brooklyn gym while a TV producer watched from across the room. His real name was Anthony Salvatore Danza. His mother Anne came to America from a small town in Sicily called Campobello di Mazara. She arrived in 1929. Her son grew up in Brooklyn. He earned a wrestling scholarship to the University of Dubuque in Iowa. He graduated with a degree in history education. But he did not become a teacher, not yet. He became a boxer, and that choice put him in the right gym at the right time. That producer got him an audition, and just like that, Tony Danza landed on Taxi in 1978. He played Tony Banter for 5 seasons alongside Danny DeVito. And here is a detail most fans never knew. Tony Danza actually drove the taxicab himself during the opening credits of every single episode. That was him behind the wheel. When Taxi ended in 1983, Danza had his pick of new pilots. 2 of them were tough guy roles. The third was something completely different. A gentle, single father from Brooklyn who moves to Connecticut to work as a housekeeper. Tony Danza chose the gentle guy. He chose Tony Micelli. And for the next 8 years, he gave us one of the warmest, funniest, most lovable characters in television history. He earned an Emmy nomination, 4 Golden Globe nominations, and a People's Choice Award. But remember that degree in history education? He never forgot about it. In 2009, Tony Danza paused his entire acting career. He walked into Northeast High School in Philadelphia, and he spent a full year teaching 10th grade English. 26 students, real lessons, real grades, real tears. He turned the experience into a show called Teach Tony Danza on A&E, and a book called I'd Like to Apologize to Every Teacher I Ever Had. And he did not do it for a storyline. He did it because it mattered to him. He still goes back to that school every year to raise money for the students. He also founded the Stars of Tomorrow Project, a non-profit that gives free performing arts classes to young people, ages 14 to 25, across all 5 boroughs of New York City. He got his big break because someone believed in him. Now he spends his life making sure others get that same chance. Today, Tony Danza is 75 years old, and he is everywhere. He stars in Power Book 3, Raising Canaan, on Stars. Season 5 premiered in June 2026. He just performed in a new play called Broken Snow in New York, alongside Tom Cavanagh and Michael Longfellow. And his live show, Tony Danza Standards and Stories, is something else entirely. He sings, he tells stories, he plays the ukulele, he tap dances. At 75. In May 2026, he returned to Café Carlyle in New York City. The New York Times ran a feature on his daily routine in June. A boxer from Brooklyn, a taxi driver on television, America's favorite housekeeper, a real-life teacher, a Broadway performer, a man who gives back everything he has. 75 years old, still performing, still teaching, still showing up. And if you ask him who the real boss is, he will probably just smile and point to the audience. Before we go, we need to take a quiet moment. In February of 2019, the world lost a truly extraordinary woman. Katherine Helmond left us at the age of 89. After she was gone, her castmates said what so many of us were feeling. Alyssa Milano wrote, "My beautiful, kind, funny, gracious, compassionate rock, you were an instrumental part of my life." Judith Light shared, "Katherine Helmond was a remarkable human being and an extraordinary artist, generous, gracious, charming, and profoundly funny." And then there was David, her husband of 57 years, the man who fell in love with her when he was 19 and she was 33, the man who never left her side. After she was gone, David Christian said, "The night she left, I saw that the moon was exactly half full, just as I am now, half of what I have been my entire adult life." Katherine Marie Helmond, Galveston, Texas, July 5, 1929 to February 23, 2019. She was Jessica Tate. She was Mona Robinson. She was Lizzie. She was magnificent. And she will always be the real boss. You know what amazes me most about this cast? They were never just a TV family. They became a real one. Tony still visits Alyssa when she is on stage. Judith still surprises Danny with a phone call and calls him my boy. Katherine spent 57 years with the love of her life, and Danny is still creating beautiful things with his hands and reminding the world that honest work is nothing to hide from. That is not a sitcom. That is family. Time moves fast, faster than any of us ever expected. But the memories we made watching this show, They are still right here. So let me ask you something. Close your eyes for just a second. Think about the first time you heard that Who's the Boss theme song coming through the TV speakers. Who was sitting next to you on that sofa? Was it your mum? Your dad? A brother or sister? Maybe a friend who always came over on Tuesday nights? See their face. Hold on to it for a second. Now open your eyes and tell me about them in the comments. I read every single one, and I promise you, your story matters. And one more thing, which moment in today's video surprised you the most? Was it Danny delivering packages at 50? Alyssa having a spaceship named after her? Tony tap dancing at 75? Or Katherine and David's 57 years of love? Tell me, I want to know. If this video brought something back for you today, hit that subscribe button. Share it with someone who grew up watching this show, because stories like these deserve to be remembered. Thank you for watching. Thank you for remembering. And thank you for being part of this family. I will see you in the next one.